Let's go ahead and do this thing. All right, good night, everyone. Just join us. We're just waiting for the hour of 8 o'clock to hit so we can start this thing. What was it doing, bro? All right, there we go. All right, good night, everyone, and welcome to the Fitma Show. I'm your host, Jason Craig, and I am super excited to have you here. Now, as usual, as we always begin, let me know where in the Caribbean you are signing in from. Now, got some person signing in. So if you got on the StreamYard, you gotta click that StreamYard link so I can actually see your name. All right, so let me know where you're actually signing in from. I'm gonna start rolling around my banners here so you can get everything rolling, and we want to get this show off to a nice and powerful start. We got some stuff here doing tonight. We're going to be talking about fasting. Should you be fasting, and if yes, then how long, what type of fast, what should you not be doing during your fast? I'm going to be looking at all the stuff here tonight, and we're going to be jumping into some heavy topics here. Now, of course, get your pen, get your paper. Remove any distraction. If you're in a room that everybody's talking, the TV's in the background. Now, if it's possible, go on ahead to a quiet room so we can get this thing rolling. Because what you're going to be learning here are things that can change your life. These are the same topics. These are the same things I touch with my clients. And some of these ladies have gotten amazing results. So I would suggest that you do not take it lightly, but you get your pen, you get your paper, you write stuff down so that when we are finished with this training, you can go ahead and start applying. Now, let me just go over to the comments. I've got Grenada, I've got Antigua, I've got Barbados in the house. Great, we always got quite a diverse set coming in here in our Fitma show. So, as I said, the topic is fasting. Should you be doing it? That's what we're going to be looking at here tonight. I've got my whiteboard in the background. Once I step on back, the light is going to resolve so you can actually see what's on the board. Now, with that being said, you know we always have to start off each show with a movement break. But before we do that, whatever devices you're on right now, I want you to go ahead and share this video so your friends, others can benefit from the content that's about to be shared here tonight. If you're on Facebook, hit that share button. If you're on YouTube, copy the link and you can share it on your WhatsApp broadcast. Because again, these topics are useful for everyone, and we want everyone to get the benefit from it. So, this Fitma show is all about helping mothers and wives create a body that they're proud of. And that's what we do here every Sunday night at 8 p.m. if you're joining us for the first time. If you're joining us for the first time, it's great to have you here. My name is Jason Craig. Like I said, I am your host. I have been helping women since 2019 to get in the best shape of their lives right from home. Now, my goal is to help ladies to create that body you're proud of without surgery. Because that's the next option. You can do surgery, happens really fast, it's extremely expensive, and God knows what the side effects are. But I want you to be able to do that right from your home, and you can still recapture, feel confident in your own skin. That's what we hear. That's what we do here every FitMash show, and that's our mission out here tonight. So, with that being said, we're gonna be doing a quick movement break. Wherever you are at, get up. Let's get that stretching going. Let's get that body moving. This is Fit Mothers and Wives. So of course we gotta do some sort of fitness. We gotta do some sort of movement, and I want you to be getting the best of that. And before we do that, let's do our stretch. Now, I know persons are still jumping on, so I'm gonna take a quick pause when we finish with our stretch. I'm going to be getting everyone on here. So, join me here. I'm standing. You should be standing as well. Don't be afraid. Let's get this thing moving. And our goal here is to get the best stretch of our lives. Let me push this camera back a bit, just so you can get the full view there. All right. Let me step on back a bit. Here we go. You guys can see me? All right. I know y'all can see me. So, what we're going to do, we're going to open our legs like this, arms wide apart. Y'all ready? Y'all got this thing. Let's go for a clockwise. Well, let's do an anti-clockwise turn like this. Hold it there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on back to the center. We're going to go in the opposite direction. 10, notice my arms are level, right? So I'm not dropping one down or pulling one up. Keep your arms like this. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Awesome. Now while we're doing that, let me get my phone. You should be doing the same. Grab this link, share it out with your friends. Tell them, hey, we are live. We're going to be talking about fasting. All right, so you get your phones. I'm going to say now, you might even get my message, right? And you can copy and paste it. So I'm going to say, Lauren, let's get this thing. We are live. Join us. Yep, here we go. Let's hit that paste button. Actually, yeah, let's do that. Right, there we go. Copy that right there. Yeah, you know, people always start need this last minute reminder. It's all good. That's why I'm here. That's what I'm here. I'm gonna give you that last minute reminder. If you need a last minute reminder to get on, then I'll give it to you. Don't worry yourself. I got you. All right, let me just do one more. I got it in the WhatsApp business. There we go. All right, there we go. So that's that. That's taken care of. Now I can bring the camera back in. While I'm doing that, let me give some shout outs. We got Edlin, Joan, Hazel, Sylvia, Denise. Did I miss anyone? Okay, so if I don't call your name, this means that you are showing up as Facebook user and I can't see your name, right? So if you want, you can just drop your name there. Alicia, I got Alicia Francis from Trinidad. All right, so we got the full team out here tonight. We got the full works. We're gonna be jumping into this thing, right? Early birds catch the sweetest honey, or early bees catch the sweetest honey, early birds catch the sweetest worm. Let's go ahead and do this thing. All right, so fasting. Should we be doing it? Now let me do some modifications here with my camera so you guys can actually see what's on the board, right? If you guys can see it. All right, there we go. Nice. Let me just put this light up. Just make sure you guys have all the things here. All right, there we go. Awesome. Of course, you can't see my face, but it's all good. Don't worry, I'm gonna bring this up. All right, there we go. Much better, right? I hope. Right. All right, so that's it right there. Let's jump into this topic here tonight. Fasting. So, let's start. We're going to be breaking this down in some questions. I got about 6 questions here. And I'm going to be breaking it down like that for you, right? So the first question we're going to be asking is, what is fasting? The types of fasting we should be doing. Now the benefits of fasting, this one is important. Who should not fast? Because fasting is not for everyone, right? So who should not fast? How to break your fast. Let's say you decide to do a fast, how to break your fast, and also based on my experience, the best time to fast, right? So we're gonna go through this thing one by one, and we're gonna dive into this. Now, fasting, what is fasting? Simple definition, fasting is basically taking a break from food. Just decide not to eat. Now, fasting is not starving. Starving is unintentional removal from food. So food is not available to you. Fasting is intentional removal from food. So you are making the choice to cease from food. Now, people fast for all kinds of reasons. Some people do it for religious reasons, to get closer to God. Also during special holidays like Ramadan, they also do their fasting there. Others do fasting for health benefits, and others do it just to experiment with it, right? So everybody got their reason for fasting, and you just need to know what yours is, so you are doing it for the right reasons. Now, there are different types of fasting, and we're going to be getting into that here tonight. There is the popular one, which is called the OMAD. OMAD, OMAD, stands for 1 meal a day. So that's like a 24-hour fast, as the name would suggest. You pretty much got like a 1 hour eating window where you get all your meals in there. It's very popular fast, and a lot of people do it. Now there's also the 5-2 method, where 2 days out of the week you fast. So it normally goes something like you eat Monday, Tuesday, fast Wednesday, you eat Thursday, Friday, Saturday, fast Sunday. So 2 days out of the week you fast. It's the 5-2 method. Now the other method is the alternate day fast, right? So that will be eat Monday, fast Tuesday, eat Wednesday, fast Thursday. So that's the alternate day method. And the one that you are familiar with, which the name also mixes up, is the intermittent fasting. Now, intermittent fasting is you eat, then you fast. Now, you can intermittent fast different ways, right? So you can decide, like, every week on Sunday, I'm going to fast. That is intermittent fasting. So you're eating 5 days or you're eating 6 days, and then one day you fast, you go back 6 days, one day you fast. That's intermittent. You're eating, then you're fasting. You're eating, then you're fasting. And the one that people call intermittent fast is actually called time restricted eating, which is for a specific window of a few hours in the day, you eat, and outside of that, you rest. Now that's actually called time restricted eating. So those are different type of fasts persons do and people engage in, and it's basically gives you more options to choose from. Each one has its benefit, each one has its disadvantage as well. So it really comes down to what works for you, right? So knowing that, we're going to look at some of the benefits of fasting. Now, one of the obvious benefits of fasting, and one of the reasons why most people do fasting, is because of weight loss. Right now, how it actually works, I'm going to show you. Let me just grab my eraser here and get to the board. So this is why fasting works really good for weight loss. It works from two different angles. And I'm going to show you all something, right? When it comes to eating, or when it comes to nutrition, there are really three components that you got to look at. And this is something I teach my class, right? So nutrition, one of the biggest topics when it comes to health management and also weight management. There's a framework I use to keep it really simple and to make it make sense for you. Your nutrition can be broken down, or your nutrition is broken down into three parts. If any one or two of these are missing, then you are going to experience some trouble. Right? Just right, there we go. Right? If any one or two of these are missing, you are going to experience some trouble in your results. Now you hit all three of these levers, you're going to get amazing results. Lever number one, the type of food you're eating. Right? That's a big one. I'm going to get back to that. Lever number two, the preparation of those foods. So I'm going to just write prep. And lever number three, the timing of those foods. So let's go ahead and explore these things. The type of foods. We're talking about where you get your foods from. Is your foods processed? Is your foods coming from natural sources? Are your foods coming from the fast food joints? That's what we're looking at when we're talking about type. So let me give you some example. You can be getting your food from KFC. That's an option, same food. Or you can be getting your food from the farmer's market. Or better yet, your grandma. Same food we're talking about. The type is different. Foods in KFC, heavily processed, loaded with calories, loaded with artificial fillers, also artificial chemicals, ingredients whose names we can't even pronounce. That's an option. The next one is the preparation of those foods. So I'm gonna break this down for you, right? How are you preparing your foods? Are you deep frying them? Are you grilling them? Are you juicing them? Are you baking them? That deals with the preparation of the food. The timing. When are you eating your foods? Are you eating them midday? Are you eating them post-workout? Are you eating them 12 o'clock in the night? And I'm going to show you how this all ties together, right? Let's take a good example, a healthy example. Let's go for broccoli. All right, everybody cool with broccoli? Everybody cool with broccoli? Okay, so broccoli it is. Let's get broccoli up here. Let me give him a little drawing. All right, there we go. Let's get some shrubs. All right, that's my broccoli. All right, that is broccoli for you. So broccoli, that's type. Everybody agrees that broccoli is a good food to eat. So that's our type. We get it organic broccoli, got it in our garden. It's all good. So that's a great. So let's check the type. The type is awesome. Now for this broccoli, we decide, hey, we're gonna grill it. Yeah, we're just gonna grill it. Maybe kebab style. Add it in the pan with our grilled chicken or grilled fish. Our preparation is all good. Timing. We're going to be having this thing about 6 o'clock in the afternoon after we've done our workouts. Right? Timing is perfect. You hit all three, that food becomes awesome. Now let's mess with it. Same broccoli, and we still got it from our garden. Alright, so the type is good. Now, we decide we're going to put it in a batter. We're going to get some oil. Right? We're going to get some oil. Heat it up, deep fry style. We're going to take this broccoli, put it in some flour, and we're going to drop it in that deep fried oil. Now, that amazing organic broccoli just turned bad because we messed up the prep. Now, worse, we're going to be having this when we're watching our late night movies, which starts at about, what time our late night movie is going to start? All right, so it's like 9 p.m., right? Timing is bad. Now, you see how this works? You just took a perfectly great broccoli and you messed up the preparation of it. You messed up the timing, which totally gives you a different outcome, right? So I just want to show you this for example. Now, in tonight's training, we're going to focus primarily on timing, the timing of our meals, all right? So let's jump back over to that fasting. That was just a little bonus to show you the framework we use when we go into nutrition, right? So with that being said, let's look at some of the benefits of fasting. And we talked about weight loss being one of the core things that people fast for. So how does fasting affect weight loss? Now, as we learned last week, for you to lose weight, you gotta tip the scale. Now this scale says calories out and calories in. If your calories out is greater, bring this down here, put that arrow up there, your calories out is greater than your calories in, the scale is going to tip this way, you're going to lose weight. If your calories in are greater than your calories out, the scale is going to tip that way, you're going to gain weight. So that's the first thing right there, right? First thing right there. Now with that being said, how does intermittent fasting come into this? Typically, we are eating about 3 to 6 meals per day, depends on our activity levels, right? So, if we are eating 3 to 6 meals per day, and for this example, I'm going to use time-restricted eating, right? Where we're eating in a 16-8 window. If you're eating 3 to 6 meals per day, let's go with the higher number. Let's say 6 meals per day. So that includes breakfast, lunch, dinner, and some snacks in between. All right, so actually, let's make it 5. Let's make it 5. Let me balance it out. So that's 5 meals per day. 5 times per day you're eating. Normally, when you intermittent fast, you now got only a 6-hour window. And because of that, you're going to find, number one, you're going to be eating less. So if you used to eat 5 meals per day, that's probably going to drop down to 3, maybe even sometimes 2, where it's just be lunch and it will also be dinner. So right off the bat, those calories in is going to start to reduce, which means the scale is going to start to tip this way, which means you're going to start to lose weight, right? That's number one. Number two, when you're intermittent fasting, because you're giving your body these long rest periods, a couple of things are going to start to happen. There are 2 hormones. They're called leptin, and I'll explain to you what they are. And the other one is called ghrelin. Alright? And you're going to see how intermittent fasting helps you to lose weight from all of these angles. Leptin is the satiety hormone. Right? Where's my mark? Right, so leptin is our satiety hormone, and ghrelin, or let me just make it easier. Leptin is the hormone that tells your body when you are full, and ghrelin is the hormone that tells your body when you are hungry. Right? So when leptin is high, you are going to feel satisfied, you are going to feel filled. You will not want to eat. When ghrelin is high, you are going to feel hungry and you are going to want to eat. Now these hormones are almost always playing this dance when you're eating, right? So when you're eating, after you've eaten, leptin goes up, you feel full, ghrelin goes down, you feel, you still feel filled, of course, because you're not feeling hungry. Now, when that food wears out, then it starts to go in this direction, where ghrelin starts to come back up, leptin starts to go down, you start to feel hungry, and you want to eat. And the more you eat, especially the type of food you eat, these hormones always have a dance. When you start to time restrict eat, or when you start to fast, the ghrelin leptin hormone starts to balance out. So what you're going to find happening is that the longer you fast, the more frequent you fast, you're going to feel less hungry and you're going to feel more filled. I know a lot of you on here tonight have experimented with intermittent fasting. You can probably testify to this, especially when you do those longer fasts, like a 24-hour fast or a 36-hour fast, or even a 16-hour fast, like 3 or 4 days in a row. Eventually, you're going to find that you're not feeling as hungry as you normally would, and any little food that you eat is going to fill you up. So from this point of view, intermittent fasting helps to balance your hormones, specifically those hormones that help you to feel fill up and reduce those hormones that cause you to feel empty or hungry. So number one, they help you to consume less. You are consuming less calories, you're going to tip the scale this way, you're going to fat burning mode. Number two, they help to balance the hormones that stimulate hunger and also the hormones that cause you to feel filled, by putting them in the perfect balance where you feel fuller and you're less hungry. So that is going to cause you to consume less, which is going to also bring that calories down, right? So you see how this thing is working. Now, also from a cellular point of view, they call something called autophagy, where all cells die off and then there are new cells that is forming. So it's causing your cells, your body are made up of cells, your body made up of cells from a cellular level, and it causes those old cells to die off and cause new cells to be created. Now also it causes the growth hormone, right, GH, growth hormone levels to boost. When growth hormone levels are boosted, then you are going to find it easier to burn fat. So if you notice from a whole hormonal profile, intermittent fasting helps your body lose weight from inside out, which is why we also refer to intermittent fasting sometimes as hormonal hacking. So no longer do you have to worry too much about willpower, about counting your calories, about making sure that you're not exceeding it. By just starting off with an intermittent fasting protocol, you are automatically going to have a lower calorie intake. Your body is also going to naturally start to burn more fat, right? Hope that helps. Now, it's a big one, especially for my menopausal ladies, premenopausal, postmenopausal, because when you hit that age, 45 onwards, you start to develop these things. This is when these start showing up, right? So when you time restrict eat or when you intermittent fast, you also reduce insulin resistance. Now let me explain insulin resistance to you. Quick and simple, right? When you eat food, right? That food is broken down into glucose, which enters the blood. Now some of that glucose is used up right away. So let's put that as energy out, right? And out. Some of that is used up right away. The remainder of it is stored in the short-term energy stores, which is as glycogen in your liver. I hope I got liver right. And then the rest of it is stored as fat, right? Or your long-term energy stores. And the reason your body stores as fat is because your body is preparing in case there is a limited supply of food that he will still have food available, right? Now, what signals the body to store this as fat is high glucose levels in the blood. Now, when glucose levels are high in the blood, the body responds by releasing something called insulin, right? Everybody's heard of that hormone called insulin. And when insulin is released, that's a signal to tell the body to start getting that extra glucose out of the blood and storing it over here as fat, right? So when insulin levels are high, your body is going to store that extra glucose as fat. However, if you constantly eat foods that are high in carbohydrates, specifically those simple sugars, what you're going to find is that your blood sugar levels are always going to be spiking. As a result, your insulin levels are going to remain elevated. Added to this, the more frequently you eat, because your insulin levels and your blood sugar levels go up whenever you consume food. So the more frequently you eat, the more fluctuations or elevation or elevating your insulin levels will be. As a result of your insulin levels being constantly elevated, then your cells now start to become insulin resistant. Now let me explain this insulin resistance to you. Simple. When you got kids, right? Most of us here got kids. The first time you spank your kid, they probably cry like hell, right? They probably cry wee, that whole tralala. However, the more frequently you do it, licks start to become ineffective. Why? Because their body is getting adjusted to your licks. It doesn't have the same effect as it did back in the day when you started beating them, right? Now this is a really strange example, but I'm dealing with Caribbean mothers. I know we do both kids, but so I'm gonna roll with that. Alright? Now here's the same thing that happens. When your cells start to become, when you first get introduced to that glucose, right? Initially, your cells are very insulin sensitive, so they take in glucose really easy. However, when you constantly spike your blood sugar levels and also your insulin levels, what is going to happen in a dealing mechanism, because your cells don't want to always have to be grabbing, your cells start to become desensitized. So the amount of insulin it took to ram that blood sugar into the cells will now be increased. Let's just use some examples, right? Let's just say it took, let me use keys as examples, right? So let's say it took 1 key of insulin to open that lock in the cell and put that glucose in there. The more frequently you do this, it's going to increase. So now instead of taking 1 key, it's going to take 2 keys. So it's going to take 2 keys of insulin to open that cell. You keep doing that, it's going to take 3 keys, 4 keys, 5 keys. It's going to keep going up until you start to becoming insulin resistant, where it doesn't matter how much insulin is in the blood, that glucose is not being stored in the cells. And that's when you start to become insulin resistant, and that's also when you're going into that type 2 diabetes. So your body is not able to utilize glucose in your body, right? So in your bloodstream, right? So that is insulin resistance. That is pre-diabetic, type 2, right? Now, when you time restrict eat, what happens Number one, your meal frequency goes down. If your meal frequency goes down, the spikes of blood sugar obviously goes down because you're taking in less food. On top of that, because you have these wide windows, so let's say it's 16-8, you have 16 hours where your body is being fasted. After about 10 hours, for the average person, 10 to 11 hours, you are going to deplete all of this short-term energy store in your liver. Now, where do you think your body is going to get that energy from? Of course, it has to go over to fat, because remember, fat is long-term energy stores. And because there is no consumption of food, there is no carbohydrates. No carbohydrates means no sugar. No sugar means no blood sugar spiking. So insulin is not present to tell the body to start storing. And when insulin is not present, that switch now moves from fat storage to fat burning. The more frequently you do this, the more fat adaptive your body becomes. Also, your body starts to become more insulin sensitive. So instead of taking 10 keys, you might start to take 9, then 8, then 7, then 6, then 5 until it goes right back down to its original sensitivity. So you see how that works? So that's how fasting helps with your insulin resistance. And like I said, when you start to hit that premenopausal stage, you gotta be looking out for this, especially if you have not been practicing healthy eating habits in the past. All right? So that is the fasting and the time-restricted eating, how it helps with your insulin levels. Now, fasting also helps to reduce cardiovascular diseases, right? So we're talking about things like high blood pressure, high heart rate, high cholesterol, as we just touched on, high insulin levels. So when you time restrict eat, these things also go down. And if you understand you're taking in less food, you are giving your stomach time to rest, you are improving your gut bacteria, you can see why inflammation will start to go down, why these cardiovascular risks will start to be reduced, why your cholesterol will start to be lowering, and also why your blood pressure and heart rate will start going lower. And especially for fat loss, there is a type of fast called, or in the time restricted eating, there is something called ETRE, or early time restricted eating. Now this is where your last meal is by 3 p.m. And the more you practice this, especially persons seeking weight loss, this one is extremely potent when it comes to helping you lose weight. Early time restricted eating. So you can still do your 16-hour fast. You can even do your 13 hours of fast, 11 hours eating window, whatever your fast is. But just make sure that your last meal is at 3 p.m. and you are going to notice that your fat loss results are going to skyrocket, right? So this one is extremely important for fat loss. Now, with that being said, let's move over to the next question. Who should not fast? So that is also going to tie into some of the cons when it comes to fasting, right? Because fasting is not for everyone. I'm going to be straight up with you. Fasting is not for everyone. Everyone is not supposed to be fasting, right? Some people who should not be fasting are children and teens. Children and teens are in their growing stage. They need nutrition to be coming in so that they can facilitate their growth. Teenagers, they're going through their hormonal changes. Their body will be producing testosterone and estrogen. Those levels are going to be high. They need food for that. You should not be intermittent fasting your teenager, right? Children, even worse. Again, they're in their growing stage. You need food in, they need to be growing. So those intermittent fasting is not for those. Of course, this one should be obvious. Pregnant or breastfeeding ladies, right? You are giving milk. You are giving nutrition. The last thing you want to be doing is intermittent fasting, right? You want to be putting in healthy stuff so that you can feed that baby properly. Pregnancy also the same thing. You're not only growing, you got some little child growing in you. So it comes back to that same growing stage. They need nutrition, proper nutrition. Don't just go out and eat, and I'm going to stick this in. I remember a doctor once told my wife, just eat. That is the dumbest advice I've ever heard. When you have a young child growing in front of you, just eat is the dumbest advice anybody could give you, right? You want to, if there was never a point in your life when you ate healthy, you want to ensure that when you have a little child growing inside of you, that is the time you should pay close attention to get in your greens, to get in your fruits, to get in your micronutrients, to get in your antioxidants, to get in your healthy fats. Because you already messed up your life if you did a bad eating. Don't go mess with your child's life, right? So any doctor tell you that, that's BS, all right? I'm gonna be straight up with that. You can put me on record for that one. That's the dumbest advice I've ever heard. Anyway, moving right along. Right, let me come back in here. I'm in frame. All right, cool. So, persons with eating disorders. So, you know, some persons have like these eating disorders, and those persons should not intermittent fast because they are already dealing with an eating disorder. And anything that facilitates their seizing from food, you definitely don't want to encourage that. So, those are persons who should not be intermittent fasting. Persons with type 1 diabetes. I remember we said type 2 diabetes, intermittent fasting helps with that, but type 1 diabetes, these persons should not be intermittent fasting. And let me just give you a brief overview. Type 2 diabetes is when your body becomes insulin resistant, meaning your body doesn't process insulin as efficient as it used to. Right? As a result, your blood sugar levels remain elevated. Now, type 1 diabetes, let me make sure I get this right? Type 1 diabetes, your body does not produce insulin at all. Right? Your cells that produce insulin, your body does not produce insulin at all. So that is why you need to be taking that insulin injection. So if you do that with somebody who is type 1 diabetic with intermittent fast, where you have these long periods of no eating, your blood sugar level drops, they are going to, what do you call it, boy? Top under, something like that, where the blood sugar levels drop so low that they become hypoglycemic, right? Hypoglycemic. They black out, they could go into a coma, and left unchecked, they could die, right? So type 1 diabetics, definitely no time restricted eating. Now, persons who are underweight, frail, and even the elderly, these should not be intermittent fasting. Again, for the same reason that they are at a stage where they need nutrients to grow, especially persons who are underweight and frail. Time restricted eating, as you realize from what we just started here, helps with weight management. It also helps with hormonal balance. But you have an issue where your weight is or needs to be managed in the opposite direction, not going down, but needs to be going up. So the last thing you want to be doing is taking in less calories. All right, elderly and frail, same situation. At that age, you're losing muscle mass, you're losing a lot of stuff, especially if you're inactive. The last thing you want to be doing is intermittent fasting. And of course, persons with certain medical conditions. So, like I always say, if you are going to attempt time-restricted eating, intermittent fasting, whatever fasting you want to do, please consult with a Medicare or medical professional. Because there are certain times, and I've seen it training my clients, where because of certain medications that you're taking, you need to be eating on a regular schedule. You can't be intermittent fasting. So please, before you attempt anything here, consult with your healthcare professional and make sure that you have that okay to go ahead and fast. Now, the next topic is, or the next question is, what are some of the best times to fast? And this is from my personal experience. What I've found, I'll tell you the best time to fast, and I'll tell you the worst time to fast. I'm speaking specifically to persons who have like a day job and who have like a daily routine. When I say day job, domestic engineer is considered a day job. Another name for domestic engineer is stay-at-home mom. That is a day job, right? That's actually a full-time job if you ask me. That's a 24-hour job, right? Respect to all of you. So that is considered too, right? Now, the best time I found to fast is during the week. Because think about intermittent fasting. Let's do this 16-8, right? Where let's just say we're going to cut off our last meal at 7 p.m. and our next meal will be 4 hours from that, which will be, what is that, 11 p.m., 11 a.m., right? So 7 to 11 a.m., right? That's just 16 hours of fasting there. What I find is that when you have all of that morning routine, like getting the kids ready for work, maybe getting yourself ready for work, heading off to work, getting all set up, you become so busy that you forget about food, right? And it's easy to do a fast during that period because we always recommend starting a fast in the night. You're going to be sleeping anyway, so that's going to take away some of your hours. And then when you get up, you're going to be getting ready for work. You got that rush going. So you're so busy that time is going to slip on by. So the best time to fast is during the week when you're going to be busy anyway. The worst time to fast, I've found, is the weekends or the holidays. Like when you got these long holidays, summer holiday, I wouldn't even consider that a long holiday. But like you got with Monday or a long weekend, those are the absolute worst time to fast. So the hack around that, if you plan to fast on those days, you can find activities to keep you engaged just like you would during the week, so that you become so distracted you don't think about food. Right? That's what I do. Now, Saturdays we go to church, so I can easily do a 16-8 then. The hardest time for me to do a 16-hour fast, or even any fast, is Sundays when I'm at home and I don't have work. Because there's always going to be this purling into the kitchen. There's always going to be something there. You open the closet, there's always going to be something there to taste. Right? That's what I find. So what I do, I take Sunday off. Sunday is my day off from fasting, except I'm flying and I use that to my advantage. So that is just something to note. When you're doing this long 24-hour fast, again, you can do that during the week. When you're busy anyway, you're going to be engaged, so it's easy to be distracted from food. And then what happens, the more frequently you do it, it becomes easier and then it becomes a habit, right? So that was the best time to fast and also the worst time to fast. What was the last one here? Let me get my paper up. Oh, how to break your fast. That's the last one, how to break your fast. So let's use good judgment here. You have given your stomach a rest for 12 hours, 16 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours. And this is especially true for these prolonged fasts. So I consider anything past 18 a prolonged fast. Your stomach has been resting, or let me use you for example. Let's say you've been sleeping all night, right? You've been sleeping all night and your kid jumps in you and starts shaking you. Hey mom, get up, get up, get up. I want to play, I want food. Now, how do you think that, how would that feel? You're probably going to smack that kid side his head, right? That's what's going to happen, right? You're going to get agitated, you're going to be, or even if the alarm clock goes off, same scenario. So when you've been giving your stomach an 18-hour rest, a 24-hour rest, a 48-hour rest, and then you just dump a plate full of food on it, it's exactly the same effect. You just shock that stomach, he's been resting, you just dump all of the food in it, and you get that same effect. So that's rule number one. Don't dump food when you're doing long fasts. A better approach, you can do like a soup, something nice and light. You can even start with a smoothie, pre-digested, or the mechanical breakdown has already happened, so your stomach has a nice easing, right? And then maybe like a half an hour to an hour after, then you can work in your heavier meals. The longer you fast, the more progressive this method needs to be. So if you're doing like a 3-day fast, a 5-day fast, then maybe for the first day or so, you should just be drinking juices or soup, or like soups, right? So your body gets the time to build back up. You can't go into a 5-day fast, a 3-day fast, and then go and eat a bowl of food, because that's going to mess you up really bad, all right? We're not even talking about the health detriments. So just don't do that. And for those of you in the lower fast, like the 16-hour fast, the 14-hour fast, same thing applies. When you break your fast, go with something light. That's when you can throw in your smoothie or your protein shake if you got that stuff. And then like a half an hour after that, you bring in a main meal. Don't go from a long fast to a bowl of ground provision with saltfish, with a big steak, with a big bowl of cooked beans. Don't do that. You're going to mess yourself up. All right? Keep that in mind. So that brings us to the end of fasting. Now, after all has been said and done, you need to decide if fasting is right for you. There are, and I learned this today, there are three triggers that you can use to affect your weight loss, right? Trigger number one, a caloric deficit. Trigger number two, the type of foods you eat, or a dietary, let's call it a dietary deficit, or dietary approach, a diet approach. Trigger number three, a timing approach. And let me give credit to the person I learned this from, right? It's Peter Attia. a Canadian researcher, Peter Attia. This is where I learned this one from. So the calorie deficit, as the name would suggest, this is where you count calories. You make sure that you are intentionally below your caloric maintenance. So if you normally burn 1,500 calories per day, make sure that you're consuming anything less than that, 1,400, 1,300, etc. That's one lever you can pull. The next one is a diet approach. So this is a diet approach is going to be eating more whole foods. A diet approach could also be switching from omnivore to plant-based or to vegetarian or to pescatarian, right? So that's a diet approach. And a timing approach is going to be what we just spoke about here tonight, where you can now experiment or start to use time-restricted eating to help get you to your weight loss goal. So these are the 3 approaches you can use when it comes to controlling your weight. Now you can pull all 3 or you can pull 1. Of course, the more you pull, the faster you're going to hit your results. You just need to choose which one's right for you. And the best diet is, of course, the one that you can stick with. So if you find it's better to go in plant-based, if that's an easy approach for you, then stick with that. If you find counting calories works great for you, then go for it. If you find just changing the hours that you eat is an easy approach, then go for it. And then when you master one, you can always move on to the other. So I hope this helped clear up the intermittent fasting, time-restricted eating, the fasting as a whole, and you guys and girls know how you can now use it to your weight loss advantage. So go ahead and try it out in your everyday life. You just choose which one you want. You can start simple. Most of us are already doing a 13 or 12, 10. 12, 12 or 13, 13, 11, right? Because most of us maybe finish eating by 8 p.m. and maybe we're having breakfast by about 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. If you did that, you did 13 hours of fasting. That's easy. So if you're there, wherever you check where you're at right now. So make this for me. Check the time you ate your last meal tonight. I'm speaking specifically to my newbies, those who have never played with time-restricted eating. Check the time you had your last meal tonight, and then register the time tomorrow when you eat. And just be normal. Don't try and intermittent fast. Just register the time you eat. Whatever that hour is, try and add 1 to it the following day. So if tomorrow, if you ate your last meal at 8 p.m., tomorrow you ate your breakfast at 7 a.m., that's an 11-hour fast. So the next day you can do 2 things. You can go back on the dinner or go forward on the breakfast. Meaning, instead of finishing your last meal at 8 p.m., you can finish your last meal at 7 p.m. and then eat at 7 a.m. a day, that's 12 hours. And you work your way up to 16 hours. 16 hours is a really good maintenance. It's pretty much a part where most of us stay. So you can work your way up there and you can start to reap benefits from fasting. You ain't even got to pull the other levers just yet. You just pull that and you're going to be able to get some of the benefits we spoke about in fasting. Now also, if you know anybody who will learn or who can benefit from what we just spoke about here with the benefits of fasting, especially persons with type 2 diabetes, persons struggling with weight, feel free to share this video. It's on YouTube, it's also on Facebook, and let's get it rolling. Last but not least, we have finally opened up our virtual fitness studio. So all of you been worried about the gym being closed, you're not able to go in the park, you have lost your workout partners because of social distancing. So this is now a safe way for you to come back and work out, because all of our workouts are online. And yes, I'm not the only trainer, so we do have live Zoom classes. Those are with me. We also have our international team, which we have teamed up with the States. We've got workouts from dance, Zumba, TRX, resistance training, spin classes. So whatever you like, there is a workout for you. And this has always been a challenge for us. Those persons with injuries, back injuries, knee injuries, surgical injuries. We now have injury workouts and also low impact workouts for persons who can jump and skip. And you've got a whole pool to choose from. So we have now opened up our virtual gym. It is an extremely low cost. And if you guys need information about that, just go ahead and text me. The number comes up on the screen. It's 1-385-743-1906. I'm going to get you enrolled. In the past, we've had trouble with the persons not having online payment methods. Now we have more in-person or physical payment methods. So even if you don't have a credit card, debit card, you can still enroll. Like I said, it's a low monthly fee. And just go ahead and message me and I'm going to get you enrolled into that. Until then, it has been great hosting this show. Hope you all learn a lot about fasting. More importantly, hope you guys try it out in your everyday life. Have yourselves an awesome night. I'm your host, Jason Craig. See you in next week's episode of the Fitma Show.